So, Caitlin Clark's old college assistant coach and the current coach of Iowa has given some stories about what Caitlin Clark was like to be a coach, what she was like as a player. And it is crazy, but Caitlin Clark was basically just Kobe. You can see the mentality. Like, she is Kobe. She is like Jordan. Heck, if you want to go on the women's side, she is Diana Taurasi. And it's funny because it's the mentality. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, Paige is like Taurasi. It's like, no. Caitlin Clark is the closest thing mentality-wise to Taurasi because, again, she has that Kobe-like, Jordan-like mentality. But before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 40k by Christmas, and we are going to be doing Hoopsmas. We are uploading 5 videos a day, no matter what, between now and Christmas. And if I miss a day, I got the next day to make up for it. So if I get 2 videos out one day, it means I got to go 8 the next. So there's going to be 125 videos no matter what. Either way, let's talk about this. So Jan Jensen was on a podcast being interviewed about Caitlin Clark, and this is what she said.
Much talent, and they see that.
Yeah.
Talk me through how you managed that.
Well,
diverse
I think
personalities.
The big thing was you really had to get everybody else understanding how rare she was. And I think that was the first thing is we had to work pretty hard on the chemistry and culture piece because that's what we always believe in the most, our staff has. But when Caitlin came in, she had such a high expectation. And, if you study Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, they really were big on trust and basketball IQ. And so for Caitlin, if you weren't really if she didn't think you were in the gym as much as you should be, then we're not going to, at the beginning, we're not going to pass you the ball, right?
Oh, the good old Kobe Smush Parker. You can talk, at least, Kobe Bryant was even worse. He wouldn't, not only would he not pass Smush Parker the ball, he wouldn't even let Smush Parker speak to him.
Right? Because, my shot from 40 is going to be more consistent than yours is from maybe 15, right? So, okay, so the reason I shared that is she's thinking from a very pragmatic, very successful, win the game mentality. It is nothing against you. I might like you. I just don't believe that you work that hard for the moment.
Right.
Okay, shift it to the other person. They think they work hard. They're, maybe 100 shots after practice is what they've always done. And they get their feelings hurt because she looks them off. She doesn't pass. Now, their feelings are hurt. And now she doesn't like them because she doesn't pass me the ball. She doesn't like me. She doesn't believe. No, she likes you. She might believe in you, but at that moment, the pass, she doesn't believe you put in the work as much as she has to take the shot. So when you had to uncover a lot to say, okay, it's not as personal. For the really, the Kobe's, the Jordans, the Caitlins, maybe Diana Taurasi's, it is never personal.
So yeah, that's basically what we all kind of thought from just watching Caitlin Clark, where it's and it's funny, in the NBA, it's that's Mamba mentality. But in the WNBA, that's attitude problems. That's attitude problems. I remember when word got out about that, everything was attitude problems, attitude problems, attitude problems. And it's one, they were saying that was her when she first came in. And as time went on, she began to trust her teammates more. And I think it was more so a case of the likes of Gabby Marshall, who in Caitlin's freshman year shot the damn lights out. Or maybe it was her sophomore year. One in the year she shot the lights out. Monica Zinano did not have the greatest start to her college career. She was okay the year before Caitlin went there, but they became the law firm. They became the literal best duo in college basketball by the time Zinano left. Kate Martin earned her trust. The likes of Sydney Fulter, with the way she could have earned her trust. So that's the thing where it's a lot of people are oh, I think Caitlin Clark just changed her mentality. No, I don't think her mentality changed. I just think players earned her trust. And I think you can see that in the WNBA. great leaders and great teams buy in. You can see that in the WNBA. Like, I genuinely think that at practice, maybe they're shooting together all the time. Supposedly Lexi Hull is just lights out in practice and everything. She just had not figured it out in the WNBA up to that point. So Caitlin Clark, I'd say, is seeing Lexi Hull work and is putting trust in her, is hitting her with passes. And you can see the players that Caitlin Clark did not like to pass to on the floor. She would without question, pass it to Damir Stantas in the corner, talked about how they work together. But you could see, like, she wasn't, if at all possible, giving the ball to Christy Wallace. Like, by the end, she stopped passing to Christy Wallace because the amount of times Christy Wallace dropped her passes or missed wide open threes. By the end of the year, she stopped passing to Christy Wallace. And you could even see at the start of the year, it wasn't that she didn't have trust in Aaliyah Boston. It was almost like she lost trust in Aaliyah Boston. After the first 3 or 4 games, she kind of stopped giving her the ball, and then she had that huge game against Atlanta, and then there was the game where the two of them just started killing it. Like, and that combination became one of the most devastating 1-5 combos in the entire WNBA. Not even one of the most devastating 1-5 combo, outside of maybe Tash Cloud and Brittany Griner, but they're a bit different because they're not pick and roll guard big combo. So, yeah, it is interesting that Jan Jensen has effectively just confirmed that she is basically female Kobe. And again, the funny thing is that some people will say that and say it's a bad thing. And look, when it comes to the Mamba mentality, depending on who the team is, who the players are, sometimes having someone with a Mamba mentality is not going to be effective. And I think you need different types of leaders for different types of players. So it's never a one style fits all with leadership. Like, there are certain teams that will, again, be better with certain types of leadership. Like, there are a lot of players that really could not stand playing with Kobe, but have excelled in other systems that could excel in a Steph Curry type leadership system where there's no like out and out leader. It's just like we all move, we all play for each other, very little selfishness. But they wouldn't survive in a Kobe-led system. They wouldn't survive in a Jordan system. And again, that's completely fine. And I think there are players that aren't going to be ready to play with the Fever, that aren't going to be ready to play with the Caitlin Clark, the basketball player, not necessarily Caitlin Clark, the person. And look, it is what it is. That's all I'm going to say. With all of these situations, it is what it is, probably the best way to describe it, because it's like nothing's really going to change. Caitlin Clark is who she is, and it is good that she didn't go to a Gino Auriemma team or a Dawn Staley team, because in the modern day, Dawn Staley would have told her your job is to dribble the ball down and pass the ball to Aaliyah Boston or pass the ball to Cardoso and let them go back to the basket. And Gino Auriemma, in fairness, he's a little bit less dumping into the bigs than Dawn Staley, but still, that would have, like, Caitlin Clark would have had a coach out of her. So again, fair play to Jan Jensen, fair play to Lisa Bluder. You guys saved basketball.